I don't even watch Big Bang Theory, but I know about this. Look up on YouTube if you can. Sheldon Knox.
Got it. Big Bang Theory. It's I never watched that show, but
no.
I can figure that out. Cool. And like time passes, like it takes a couple of minutes, but you hear someone coming, and the door cracks, and it's It's kind of a pasty dude. Looks like he might be like elvish, but it's hard to say because he's very old. Like that really thin, like stringy, longer, almost balding hair kind of vibe. Large ears, kind of, and he's dressed in like nice, but like out of date, almost like a butlery kind of vibe, right? Like, and he says, "Yes, can I help you?"
Can you like see inside the house?
See. Go ahead.
It's a courtyard that we're kind of opening up into. You said.
Yeah, so
right?
So this is like, it's almost like a gate, but it's so large and it's really ornate wood. But yeah, so it cracks and you can see it's this gorgeous courtyard inside. Like more of the stonework, but like that goes, and you see like, it looks like the inside of the house is actually like, well, at least this part of the house is a courtyard, but there's like porches. It's a 2-story deal, and it looks like there are porches and rooms around the courtyard. So it's like, yeah, you're walking into an open air courtyard that is surrounded by basically like a house. Like there's a courtyard in the middle of the house. Let's say. I'm failing at describing it well.
Okay. Julia will sort of gently push McMuffin aside and introduce herself and say, my name is Julia. I am a cleric of the Church or the Lady of Light, and I was told that a Mr. Maxwell lives here and that he may have a book that I would desperately like to take a look at.
And he nods and he says, "Yes, the master's been expecting you. Come this way."
Julia looks surprised, but follows him.
And he's walking like super slow because he's fucking old.
So I'm assuming Gorath is here with us, is he not?
Oh, of course, yeah.
He is.
Okay, just making sure. He's been quiet.
I imagine that this guy is walking so slow, like you guys are all like poking your heads around him to see what's in front of him, and Gorath's probably getting very impatient.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I think he's probably just like looking around at the house. I don't think Gorath has seen this kind of. I mean, we went and saw. We were in the company of the Lady of Light, but I don't know if that was quite as highbrow.
Right. That was probably more like fancy church highbrow. This is like old money. Yeah. So you guys are walking through, and there's like this huge fountain in the corner with just tons of really nice artwork. Like you can just feel how cool it is, right? Like there's statues and shit from places that you can't even imagine where it's from. Like, and it seems old, and like this guy really must have like an art thing because it's everywhere, and it's not gaudy, and there's not too much of it. It's kind of, like I don't know how to describe that exactly, but like, when you go to a house and you see this huge wall and there's this little tiny piece of art, but it's just like, it works. You know, you're like, usually, you know, some asshole would, I have a big wall. I need the biggest piece of art possible. But I don't care. Just give me, you can tell that this is all about like, just, yeah, this dude has some serious taste. Even Gorath can tell that, with or without his skull cap.
Whoa.
All right.
How much did that cost?
And there's definitely some like war kind of like weapony kind of art to, you know, like that an orc would dig, that kind of thing.
Yeah, as soon as Gorath sees something with, you know, war and battles going on, he'll probably be like, "Oh, what's that? Is that the man who owns this place? Is he a great warrior?"
Are you asking the butler?
Uh-huh.
he stops, and it takes him probably like 30 seconds to turn around.
God.
By the time he's turned around, Gorath has seen another painting and is now asking about that one.
Yes, the master is quite the art collector. Apparently, quite the warrior in his day.
Nice.
And
Any
then,
of his weapons or armor around?
what was that? Any of his weapons or armor?
Yeah.
Well, you don't see any, and he's like, and he's the butler is 15 seconds into his turnaround when you ask that. He's like, "Not that I've seen for a long time."
Yulia takes the moment that he's still in the process of turning around to ask him how Mr. Maxwell knew that we were going to be coming.
And he continues his another 50 while he's doing his second 15 seconds of his turn. He's like, "He is annoying that way." And
Annoying or super cool and very observant.
And he's doing his snail pace again. And it's not very far. You guys are like, so he comes up to like an inner door that is really attached. It's like, you know, you would be leaving the courtyard in this door. And so it opens the door and walks through very slowly and, you know, like motions you guys in.
Okay.
Thank you, Snowman.
Yeah, and as you're walking by him, you know, like eyes down kind of thing. He's, you know, he's a faithful manservant, clearly. And inside, it's even crazier in here. It's like just off the hook mosaic tiles, you know, just like, and very minimalistic. A couple, you know, like a statue here, that kind of thing, like, and like one prized art piece on the wall, but very tasteful. It looks like this is kind of like, you know, just like an entryway. And it looks like there's multiple rooms off this. So this is the smallest house, and it's pretty big. Yeah, it's not huge, but like it's not. Yeah, it's bigger than my house. That's for damn sure. And it looks like there's like a greenhouse off to one side. In the back, it looks like there's a larger sitting area. Definitely, there's a full bar. Gorath is probably staring at right now with bottles, fucking crazy ass bottles from everywhere. And it looks like there's multiple shelves of like a wine thing. It's kind of in the back. But you can definitely eyeball a little bit of booze. It looks like there's a kitchen off to the left. It just looks like it's like the house you want to live in. You know what I mean? Like this place is cool. Like it's hard to imagine someone acquiring this much shit in a lifetime, for sure.
Gorath will just make a beeline straight for the bar.
Oh yeah, cool.
Like, what's the most eccentric thing? Like, are there, like, not toys, but McMuffin, he's kind of, not even kind of, he is a kid in a candy shop. So is there anything, like, really cool looking?
Yeah, so there's this little like statue. It's like it's probably like basically 2.5 feet tall, and it's it appears to be made out of wood, but it has like actual leather like accoutrements. It looks kind of Indian-ish. And the figure is completely like painted in stripes, like black and white, like white chalky, like like you would put chalk all over your body and then paint black on you. The eyes are very black, like around the eyes, you know what I mean? Like, and it's almost like a clown face, like the Joker's face, except it's black. Wearing, and he's carrying a little watermelon, which is weird.
Oh.
And like, but it looks like it's made out of wood, it doesn't look real. But like, it has actual like leather shoes and is carrying, like has like a hatchet and a slingshot and like a little pouch around its neck. It's weird. It's a little creepy. I'm not gonna lie, but that's probably the most.
Yeah, that sounds creepy.
Yeah.
Muffin sort of looks at it. He goes to pick it up. He says, I don't like this place anymore.
And when you pick it up, the watermelon falls out of his hand.
No, God.
Rolls across the floor.
Oh, there's a break?
It doesn't break. It appears to be made out of wood. It's not like heavy, but it's not also like light or frail, but it feels like wood.
Yulia stoops and picks up the watermelon and like hurries it back to McMuffins, like put it back and make it look like it did before.
Classic. But it is kind of creepy. And so, you guys walk past the butler and he shows you, and Gorath goes to the bar and he sees just bottles of stuff. Some of them have years on them that are, looks like 100 years old or more.
Nice. I will just grab one that has the coolest looking logo.
Cool. And you do, and it is cool, and it's a blue bottle with a really slim tapered neck. A very ornate, the cork has silver all over it, and it's got what looks to be an actual silver plated dragon, embossed onto or attached to the bottle. And it says something that you're not exactly sure what it means. It's in some form.
Yulia again looks over to see where her other companion is and sees that he's getting into the booze and just immediately goes into exasperated mom voice. Gorath, put that down and get over here. Don't touch anything, either of you.
I'm dragging on it. Which booze we're dragging?
I'm just looking at it.
Both of you, put your hands in your pockets and just walk with your hands in your pockets. I don't want to see you grabbing anything.
I hate you. You can hate me all. You can hate me all you want, but you better get over here and don't touch anything. I swear. I swear. Gorath is just going to find a chair to pout in.
Wow, that is definitely really creepy.
It really is.
That's Beetlejuice or something, or Beetle. I get Beetlejuice /
I can see that, definitely.
It's cool. It's all right. That's actually it's a kind of a jester / clown for I think it's Hopi Indians.
Okay. Well, that's good to know that their clowns are as terrifying as our clowns.
I do own that. When you asked me what it was, I'm sitting right across from it right now. That came up for sale here, and wife found it, and she's like, I love that. And I'm like, so do I. I'm buying that. So I bought it.
I love it, but I'm going to be seeing it in my nightmares.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cool. Yeah, and it has like it's like he's like a shaman, and he is carrying watermelon because he's Sandia man. Sandia is the mountain here, and it means watermelon.
Huh, interesting.
It's rad. It's made out of it's like I can't believe how cheap I got it because those are usually like $600, but it's made out of cottonwood. It's a traditional like character from. I think it's Hoppy. Could be ZD. I can't remember. Anyway, it's the first thing that came to mind when when you asked me. Because you said creepy-ish.
That's
creepy.
Yep, that works.
I love that thing, but it is creepy. Cool. Yeah. So you like the butler doesn't flinch at all. Like doesn't care that if you broke the clown statue or if Gorath drank. You know, he seems unfazed by anything you guys do.
He's still processing it. He's like Slowpoke, the Pokemon.
Yeah.
Slow.
Massive smile plastered on his face.
Kind of creepy, vacant expression.
Yeah. McMuffin looks at the butler. So, where's the Magister guy?
And so, yeah, because the butler was just standing there waiting for you guys to, like, you know, he's letting you do your thing. And you ask a question. He's like, and he kind of motions to a door and starts walking that way. And as he's walking slowly, he says, Master, we'll see you in the drawing room.
Drawing room?
Yeah.
I could draw.
Sure.
Wow, what are we drawing?
And he opens a door, and it's a long hallway off to a couple other doors. And one, as you make it down this hallway, he pushes open these two large doors, like in like French door style. And there's just, and it's actually it's kind of a sitting room the shit tons of books. It's kind of the library, but like I don't know. And there's a bunch of comfortable chairs there. By this time, it's like the sun is setting, and so there's this cool, like, that early evening, like the sun has gone down, but it's still light, and it's just filling this room, and it's cool.
Cool.
Yeah. I've used the term drawing room, but I never do it. But a drawing room is a room in a house where visitors may be entertained, and a historical item for what would usually be called a living room. Yeah, cool.
Yep.
I got it right. I was like, I'm going to.
You just looked that up?
Yeah, I did. I was like, am I using this wrong?
Well, there you go.
So, like, is a living room and a drawing room the same thing, essentially?
A drawing room is just a living room for fancy rich people who have more than one, entertainment area in their house.
Right. But this one, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say you should Google names for different rooms of the house, and you'll we generally use 4 or 5 different ones, and there's seriously just this huge ass list of all of the different names for different fancy fancy rooms in people's fancy houses. It's pretty entertaining. Anyway, off topic. Continue.
No, cool. And so the butler takes both doors again, and says, "The master will be with you shortly." and kind of slowly closes the doors behind him, and you guys are in this room. So there's not a ton of books, but there's definitely some like the walls, like one entire wall is like there's the big fireplace, of course. It's just like the classic shit, right? It's kind of there's a set down, like a step down, like pit with like seating all the way around it, circular. There is a small amount of booze in the center table in the pit. And you're kind of surrounded by like a fireplace, lots of books, more, general art. The windows are interesting because they're not like floor to ceiling windows. They're all like, they're basically around the top of the it's, probably, I don't know, 15, 20 foot ceilings, but like the windows, there's not a lot of, like you can't look out the window. You're looking up and you can see light coming in, and it's actually pretty cool because there's some stained glass. So it like, you can tell it was like kind of, it comes in and makes really cool patterns around the room, but not direct sunlight maybe. But even though the sun is set, it's still well illuminated, which is interesting. I mean, it's probably for reading, right? There's probably like a cool, like big, like warrior statue made out of stone in here, right? Like with an actual spear, like that looks like it probably has blood on it, that kind of thing. Just kind of, cool ass weird shit from God only knows where. And you're waiting.
Is there a chair anywhere nearby?
Yeah, you can sit in the pit. Yeah, and the step. Yeah, in the pit, there's the like it's basically like a circular couch. There's also chairs in all the corners. It looks just like this is a party room.
Oh, okay, didn't Maven Mag have kind of a similar setup where she had a sunken sitting area?
She
or am
did.
I misremembering that? Yeah,
no, she definitely did.
Actually, how similar would you say the maybe not the decorations, but the build of the room be to the room that she was in when we met her?
These would be different because hers looked actually really weirdly modern to you guys. Mm-hmm. You're like, you've never seen anything like that. This would be similar in that you may not be familiar with where where any of this stuff is from, but this all looks really old, like really nice, like like when we go to like an really old church, we're like, man, this would cost a fortune today. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I feel like Yulia's in the mood to snoop.
Oh, for sure.
So she's just gonna look around and try to look at anything that seems like it stands out or is odd for being there, or I don't know, something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Can Muffin sort of look at the books and is there a way to get to the ceiling, like to the ceiling glass window? Is there a staircase of some sorts or a rolling staircase?
I think there probably would be like a bookshelf ladder, right? So that you could climb up the ladder and you would have a peek out the window for sure.
Would I need to make a dexterity check? Or like some sort of acrobatic?
No, I think this is pretty low level stuff.
Oh, damn. Perfect.
Are you going to do it? Yeah.
Did you roll? No.
No, you don't.
I mean, I don't think I need to roll.
Okay.
No, you can climb up the ladder. So you climb up the ladder, and like it's cool because you kind of look back. it's always fun to look back and like see it's a different perspective on the room now, and it's cool. You like it, like you can see like 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 even Gorath looks kind of short now because this is probably it's 15 feet, 20 feet tops, and you take a peek out the window and it's a gorgeous like. It looks like you're almost on like an aqueduct kind of thing, but like. Because the rich people's homes, so this is to the back of the home, and like it looks like, like there's literally an aqueduct, like with running water probably, but you know what I mean, like on stilts at an angle. You're like, interesting, running water. Arches. But that's what you can see out the back window.
Cool.
It's a
like a number of aqueducts, like several?
No, just one. Just one. Running down the center of the back. It's like it's almost like a river, except there's no river. But like houses, you can see houses on the other side of it, and you're on one side of it. But it's like this clearly seems to be like a water supply, not unlike like Rome would have, coming from God only knows how far. But since you're in the mountains, maybe you would deduce that maybe there's a snow cap somewhere feeding water to these guys. Who knows?
Muffin's sort of just gonna like take in the view. You can see him. You can hear him gawking.
Yeah, and
I think Yulia.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I think Yulia in general is just kind of looking to see if there's a theme, if there's anything she can kind of discern from what he has collected, that he has a particular area of interest, or just trying to see if there's a uniting theme in the room at all.
There's definitely a lot of like botany books, right? Like,
say again. He's
like
got many books.
He has a lot of books. Hold on, let me make sure I'm using this term right. Yeah, books on botany. He's very interested on
botany. Yeah,
there's a lot of flower books. He in passing, you saw that he did have like a greenhouse kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely an interesting thing. You definitely also feel like a weird range of shit. Like there's definitely something like, like some sort of torture techniques book. And like,
oh dear.
Yeah. And then like, and a bunch of, like religious books on religion. Mm-hmm. Just like, interesting stuff. Like seemingly all like in really nice shape. I don't know what the equivalent, like hand scribed. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the equivalent of medieval like first editions would be, but it's like that.
I feel like illuminated manuscripts. Like
yes.
Somebody just went through a shit ton of time and effort to make these books beautiful.
Yes, exactly. Like they're gorgeous. Okay. Like the like books in here rival the Great Library, which is the best library you've probably ever seen.
Yeah, I imagine Yulia's very interested in looking through the bookshelves.
Mm-hmm. Gorath, out of boredom, will grab a cool-looking book.
Cool. And hilariously, it has a balloon on it. Like, he does have a
I knew
book
it.
on balloons.
I knew it.
For sure. Because it's like, yup. Or your choice, the medieval torture book, too. That's fine.
If McMuffin reacts to the medieval torture book, then you would go for it.
Cool.
But
yeah.
McMuffin, he had climbed down and he looked at the book. That doesn't look pleasant at all.
Those aren't very nice pictures, Gorath.
There's a ton of pictures in there.
Yeah. I can imagine.
all hand drawn.
Big Muffin first jumps. She's like an Iron Maiden.
Yep.
Like
Gorath is like flipping
like
through it, and then like a centerfold. You know.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. That's nice.
they really did the blood well on the centerfold. It's nice. They captured the essence of the blood.
The stippling is impressive. Yeah.
You can see the pain on that one's face.
But does Gorath actually like? Because I know we had done the skull cap, but I don't know if it changed.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think we ever hammered that out.
Oh, I did.
You did.
Oh, that's right. You posted. Oh, crap.
Along with some disturbing shorts.
Yes.
Yes, I saw the shorts.
In God's name.
Like literally, I was posting that, and wife sent me that picture. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" Interestingly, apparently they're snowboard padding shorts.
Oh wow! I could have used those when I was learning to snowboard.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, that and you need wrist stuff, I would think. Then you're good.
I learned how to snowboard so well that I just stuck with skiing.
No.
But does Gorath, like when he's looking through the books, is he now able to comprehend them or read them, or?
So this book, I mean, yeah. So we could try your skull cap if you want.
I assume he's been wearing it.
Yeah. So the skull cap probably only like you probably don't need to take it on and off, but like you're like, oh, let's try this thing, and you actually tried to read this book. Is that what we're? Because it's not uncommon for sure.
Not in common.
Yeah.
Okay.
The book is not written in common. It's some text that you can get the gist of it because of the pictures.
Of the pictures. But yeah, Gorath will not even, being such a poor reader that he is, probably won't recognize at first that it's not in common, and will try to read it nonetheless.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Use your skull cap. Roll a 2d6.
2d6.
Let's see what happens here. This could be wackiness.
Oh, wow.
That's not good.
Oh, wow. Snake Eyes on the first roll of the session.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Really bad. Oh my god.
So, hilariously, also, yeah, you can no longer see. You just went blind.
Whoa.
Okay.
Is it like a magical blindness of like dark vision, like darkness, or is it just all sight?
I'm like sitting there trying to read the book, and like darkness starts to overcome my vision as I'm trying to make out these letters, and Gorath immediately panics. The book will go flying, and Gorath will start going, I can't see, and like thrashing and like running into stuff, just full on awful, terrible orc barbarian panic.
Oh, God. Would it be a charisma check to get Gorath to try and calm down? Or...
That seems reasonable to me, yes.
All right.
We shall
We're
roll.
under attack!
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah.
That'll do it.
That will do. Okay, so so you are able to calm him down. I mean, I'm sure you can just go over, hold him for a second, right, and be like, everything's okay.
It's okay, Gorath. It's okay.
Yeah, and being
Everything's
that
okay, Gorath.
Yeah, so like
Yeah,
you guys just
that's what he
comfort
just says.
him, right? Like and so, and then you can, Gorath, you guys do you like you can't see, you don't know why. I mean, I think you actually understood that you used the skull cap.
Okay. I'm maybe connecting the dots that the skull cap is what maybe caused it.
Yes.
Okay, so Gorath will be like,
Why did you make me a hat that makes me not be able to see?
Exactly.
Yulia looks uncomfortable. Like, no, I'm sure it was something else. I don't know. I don't know why it would do that.
I put on the hat that's supposed to make me smarter, and then I can't see anymore.
I imagine Yulia and McMuffin are like mouthing stuff and concern that he can't see. And pointing like, what the fuck happened?
Yep.
I don't know, people always told me that if I look at them pictures too much, I might go blind.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Solid.
But it's something that's still
That was rough.
I don't have my description of the skills and special abilities in front of me right now, but could I try to use cure or,
yes.
or bless or yeah, okay.
Yeah, sorry,
so let's
I'll
try
look
to
it
do
up
cure.
for you too.
Okay.
I also don't have it in front of me.
Yep.
Where is it? And it's been a while since we've done any magic.
It has.
you can attempt to neutralize poisons, remove curses, or heal wounds with a touch.
Yep. Sounds about right.
So 2d6
Yep.
plus anything, wisdom.
I don't think so on this one.
Okay.
8. Cool. So you do your thing. And Gora, like, you can kind of see in his eyes turned white, probably, right? And he just looks like, like he has no eyes, which is, fairly creepy.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But given that Gorath can now see blurry out of one eye, kind of like it feels like some of your vision is coming back, but you still can't really see. But you have the relief that something like you're not blind probably permanently, but like it's going to take a while maybe.
I'm starting to see shapes.
Let's go.
McMuffin like holds up a finger. What do you? And he holds up like one finger. How many? What number?
I mean, that's an unfair question at the best of times for Gorath.
McMuffin does not realize.
How many is this?
Let's...
7.
McMuffin looks at his fingers. You're kind of close, and he was counting number 1. You know what? You sit there. We'll talk to the magistrate, and it'll go.
Yeah, just let it get better. It'll probably get better. Just wait it out for a little bit more.
I bet some booze would fix it.
At which point, Gorath will try to find his wineskin on his person.
There was also booze, like a little decanter on the table.
Yep.
If someone wants to get him a drink.
Yulia will pour him a drink. And hand it to him. Just assuming that was implied.
Yeah, and Gorath is doing the two hands, like, what? Oh, okay. Right, the two-handed, like, is this a thing? Oh, okay. I'm not sure you know what it is, but unless Yulia said that out loud, let's pour you a drink.
I would assume so. I'd say, here, have this, Gorath. This will make you feel better. Like,
do you drink it?
I do drink it.
With both hands? Do you slug it all the way down?
like 2 hands. I'll sip it to like make sure it's not something like, weird medical curism crap.
Mm-hmm.
But once I realize that it is indeed, God's nectar, alcohol of any kind, he will just, take a nice big gulp, which may or may not kill him.
Yep. Or kill him.
And I rolled for this too. It's the best brandy you've ever had in your life. You can't even believe how good it is.
Oh.
It's like silky. It's buttery. It has cool, interesting floral vibe. Like, because you actually know booze, right? Like, you don't know the shit you drink is shit because you've never had good stuff. But now you're like disappointed in the rest of your life having drank shitty booze. And it's almost sad because now you know this exists.
You can never go back, Gorath. You can never unknow how tasty this brandy was.
Gorath is going to ask for assistance. He's going to be like,
McMuffin or Yulia, can one of you grab my wineskin?
Yulia looks at McMuffin like, nope, you can do it.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to go ahead and unscrew the wineskin and pour out its contents.
Wait, the wineskin with the light bottle in it?
say again?
Which wineskin is this?
That's right. We have the magic water in our skins. I'm assuming Gorath has a water and a wine skin?
Call even or odd.
Oh, yeah. Even. It is odd.
Oh, dear.
McMuffin sort of grabs the bottle, and he realizes, he opens it and he looks at it and says, Gorath, this isn't a smart idea.
Why?
Because you're going to pour out the life bottle water thingy.
The life water. That makes me laugh.
Smart water.
Smart water.
Triple X. Then grab the other wineskin and pour that one out.
Sure. Waffet sort of puts away the life bottle, and he says, yeah, I'll go do that, as he proceeds to walk away.
Did you do it?
Yeah, it's getting done.
Great, and then I want you to pour everything that's in the bottle on the table in that. It's extremely important.
Yeah, it's gonna get done. Don't worry. Just wait for the magistrate to get here.
And there's there's probably a potted plant that you can pour the wine into.
McGuffin sort of pushes the potted plant in front of him and pours it. He says, enjoy.
And pours
So
the
is
wine.
McMuffin not actually going to fill the wineskin? Is that what's happening?
No, I think he's pouring
Yes.
the wine into the potted plant.
Okay.
Yes.
And then isn't going to fill it.
That's up
No,
to
he's going to
McMuffin.
fill it. Muffin pulls it to the top, and he's thinking, wow, how did I go from sitting in my small town of Hisflit to pouring wine for an orc who's blind to a potted plant in a city on top of the skies? What a weird world.
Sounds like an in media res opening to a random high fantasy rollipping comedy. How did my life come to this?
He's having an existential crisis.
Scratch tape. You must be wondering how I got here.
Excellent. So now Gorath has a wineskin full of brandy.
Delicious brandy.
Delicious brandy.
Right, and anything that's left in the bottle, you just hand that to me.
Of course. Here you go.
Thank you.
Poor McMuffin. He just sounds so dejected.
And like every sip that Gorath takes, he just does like a moo.
Is it helping?
Yeah. I still can't see, but I feel a lot better.
Is the butler still around?
No.
No, he left.
Yep.
Maybe I feel like the Magister's taking a little bit of...
Well, if he walks as slow as that butler, we're going to be here for a while.
So, Gorath, do you chug that thing and put it back on the table, or are you just going to hold it?
He's like grasping onto this bottle of brandy for
you're like
life.
hugging it, right? It's your new best friend. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I'm like sipping it, like and just holding the liquid in my mouth for as long as I can.
You're enjoying it? Oh my god.
Gorath doesn't want this moment to end. he now like somehow going blind was the best thing that ever happened to him.
Blind drunk. Yeah, I imagine you're hearing like kick-ass Bee Gees tunes in your head when you're drinking this. It's like, more than a woman. Yeah, just super cool. Cool. Well, so as that is going on, you guys are a little bit startled. The doors fly open, and there's a very dark-skinned man. He has like what you guys would kind of almost consider like they're very plain clothes. Like the cut is very plain, right? But even from a distance, you can tell like especially Yulia, because this was probably lost upon Gorath, but like the material looks just like amazing, and it's almost like it's all. You can definitely tell like he's meant to. It kind of matches the house, right? Like this dude wants the finer things, but he doesn't want to. He's trying. It's almost like he's trying to fit into any situation. He's not rubbing his wealth in people's face, but he does like the finer things, right?
It's like the difference between somebody wearing like a really ostentatious, bright pink tuxedo with, the fancy little pocket squares and everything like that, versus somebody who just has a really good quality, well-fitted suit that, clearly has been made of good materials, but is otherwise pretty unassuming. Yeah,
and it's like, it's not like gaudy gold and bullshit. It's just, it's almost like, and they're almost like robes kind of thing, like. But yeah, they drape magnificently, and McMuffin can tell too because he is also wearing some very elaborate clothes. He's like, elaborate clothes guy. So they are very elaborate, but like, yeah, just more like subtly, like there's a bunch of like refinement and like almost like I can't think of the word, like etchings. Sewn into it. It just looks
embroidery.
Yeah, fantastic. It's hard to tell if he is a man of color or is just really tan, like which is interesting. Or both, maybe. I don't know. Hold on. The only gaudy thing he has seemingly on his person, he is wearing a signet ring. You can't really tell it, but it looks like silver. And he...
Can we... You said we can't really see it?
I mean, not... he's at the door. He kind of, like, burst into the room almost. It's kind of taking you guys back. He's... and he says, "Pardon me, me for my tardiness. I came as fast as I could.
And like as soon as he finishes his sentence, Gorath lets out a "Moo."
And he walks in the room, and he has these like his motions are very quick. Like he almost seems like he's like athletic in his movements. He's very quick. Like the difference between like fast is fast. These are really quick movements, and he kind of spins around, grabs the doors, and gently closes them. And he's kind of almost like boisterous with his manners. Just like he talks with his hands, and he's like he spins back around really quick, like way quicker than like quick enough where his movements are quick enough where you notice how quick they are. And he's rubbing his hands together. He says, "Yes, my name is Malik Maxwell. Welcome to my home." And
nice to meet you, Malik.
Yeah, and
cool looking place.
And you're talking, and like he walks by you, McMuffin, and he nods to you and he's clearly just he's walking through, and he's talking as he's walking. He's not really like talking to anybody. He's like, I'm sorry I was very late. And as he's passing Gorath, he kind of looks down at the. I'd say there's only like 2 fingers left in that bottle. And he keeps he walks right by him, but you can tell he knows. And he gives a very like he bows basically to Yulia as he's walking by, but it's a bow in motion, like he's walking by you. It's actually quite elegant. Like it's just like this guy has a thing about him. And he continues to walk over to a shelf and over to the wall, and he presses on it, and the panel opens, and you can see there's another bottle in there. And he takes it out, and he closes the panel again. And the panel is cool. It's a push button panel. You're like, whoa! Like you wouldn't have. It looked like a wall, so it's like a secret panel almost, but it's not. But like it, you guys wouldn't have known that was a door. And he takes out another big bottle, and he says,
"No! I think Yulia is gonna like wave her hands frantically in front of him, but not say anything. Just like try to get his attention and point at Gorath." And point at the now basically empty brandy bottle, and kind of try to communicate. He does not need any more of that. Please don't let him hear you have it.
Well, he can't see you probably.
Right. mouthing words at him.
What does McMuffin do?
Sort of looks at the situation and sort of looks at Yulia. He says, "What if we just let this happen?"
McMuffin's just totally given up. Gosh.
Yep. He's like, there has to be a reason my life went this way.
Poor McMuffin really is just having an existential crisis right now.
Pretty much.
And he like basically you give him that kind of vibe quietly, and he was just about to say something. He stops saying. He like looks at you and in a very split second sees what you're trying to convey, and just quietly puts the bottle. Well, first he pours himself a little and gently puts the bottle back on the table. Yep.
And in order to cover up whatever noise he might make, Yulia just definitely clears her throat and says, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Maxwell. Your butler told us that you were actually expecting us, but do you know why we're here?"
For the brandy.
Well, and he says, "Well, the brandy is good. There's no doubt about that. 905 was a great year.
A good year."
And he says, yes, well, about that. I assume you're here to see the book.
Yes, we are, but how did you know exactly?
And you can he's trying not to sound proud about it. You can tell he's trying. He's mostly succeeding, but you can vibe it without a skill check at all. And he just says, "It's my business is knowledge, and I'm pretty good at my business."
I see.
He says, "Come sit. I'll answer any questions you have."
All right. Yulia will go ahead and take a seat.
But also, okay. And with that, let's also take a little bit of a break. How about?
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
It is almost 1 o'clock, I guess.
Yeah, we talked through the first break. It's all good. This was the point where I wanted us to get. It's perfect.
Okay. Okay. All right, that's good because I have to use the bathroom. All right,
Cool.
See you guys in 5 to 10.
Yep.
Okie doke.
Cool. And speaking of booze,
Yes.
Gorath is hugging a bottle. And
Yep.
I'm assuming he is occasionally taking huge chugs out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm also assuming, as he beckoned you to sit down, that you guys probably helped Gorath sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And and you can see Mr. Maxwell taking a kind of like an inquiring gaze at it, like almost tilting his head, like kind of looking at, trying to understand what's going on there. But he doesn't ask.
It's best that he doesn't.
Well, I thought I asked it before we went on break, but I'll go ahead and say it again. Yulia definitely wants to ask him why he picked up the book in the first place. What piqued his curiosity?
And and he gives you he literally smiles at you and he says, right to the point. Love this.
Gorath, this is just reminding me of whenever we go to Shanti's for Indian food and you just spend the entire time just going, oh God, this is so good.
I love
It's honest.
Indian food is wonderful.
Yes.
I want to make curry tonight.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Let's get back on focus.
yeah. Sorry, Indian could have totally sidetracked this whole party.
Oh yeah, we would have been done.
Yep.
Oh my god.
You're asking specifically about the book, and he kind of sits there, and like he's rubbing his chin almost, like pondering. And excellent question. So and he says, and you can tell he's kind of deciding how much he wants to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just like, and he literally gives kind of like, fuck it, kind of. He doesn't say that, but he kind of like shrugs.
But you can see it.
Yeah, he shrugs. And he says, I have eyes and ears in many places, and you can tell he's kind of embarrassed that he said it, that my business is knowledge. That is true, he says. But you can kind of, you get the sense that he's embarrassed that he kind of gloated about it. Let's just say I have eyes and ears in the library.
the one of the scribes at the library told us that you often trade books with them. Is this part of your information brokerage?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
100%.
What specifically do you seek out? What significance is there to the books that you take?
And he's like playing with an eyebrow and kind of looking up, and he says, "That's another good question." You get the sense here he's not actually sure. It's like, I take a interest in learning things. But so few things are very interesting, seems, anymore. So I suppose you could say I have a curiosity for odd things, oddness.
I would have never guessed.
And he looks at you, and he looks around the group, and he says, and he's trying to gauge whether he should tell you this or not, too. Like, I don't want to...
Well, what is it?
And he says, I don't want to tell anybody their business. But the three of you are very open to your stories, and maybe you shouldn't be.
Yulia just doesn't understand. She's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? You've been pretty fine.
How else are we supposed to get any help?
And he says, of course. And I apologize, because your openness led you to me, which I'm very welcome and very happy about.
And again, I don't think Yulia has ever really had to deal with any sort of subterfuge in her life, so she's not offended. She's just genuinely confused. Like, why, what would be the problem in telling other people about what's going on?
And he says, he actually gets up, and he walks over to Gorath, and he takes the bottle, because Gorath is clutching it, right, to his breast, I'm assuming. And he takes the bottle gently from Gorath, and just for a moment, he says,
All right.
And he moves the bottle. He takes the bottle, and he puts it next to you, and takes your hand and puts it back on the bottle, and it's just sitting on the couch next to you. And this exposes the mark on you, because it was just above your left nipple.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, there are some things that aren't necessarily great to share with people. And as he's saying this, he takes his sleeve and he rolls back his left sleeve, and you can see he has the same mark on his forearm.
Ooh.
And this is the mark we got for
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always glad to meet, I don't know what to call it exactly. Let's say relative? Because once you sit in the pool, I feel like we are all literally connected in some way.
And Gorath, will see that there's something on his arm and, grab his arm and put it, basically press his nose against the guy's arm.
and he doesn't even, you can't even tell that he minds or notices. It's all good.
And he's saying this stuff, and in the middle of a sentence, Gorath's going to be like, "I've got one of those."
And he actually responds to, yes you do.
Good job. Yulia definitely looks visibly taken aback, and suddenly the fact that this guy has a huge collection of really old cool stuff, more than a single person generally has, kind of starts clicking into place. And she asks him, how did you come to get that mark?
That's a long story.
I can imagine.
Muffin raises his hands. So,
and he calls on
you. Did you get it from a weird?
Yes, McMuffin.
Yeah. So, did you get it from a weird cultist man who doesn't like?
And he said, "Yeah," and he giggles a little bit, like it's more of a chuckle, right? Yes, we all know the fallen cleric.
What do you mean, we all?
All of us have met
friends.
him. Hell no, he says.
Wait, what?
He says, hell no.
He seems like a nice...
No, and he says, we, and he raises his arms to show that he's talking. The four of us all have met the fallen cleric.
Oscar, oh my god.
That's fun.
How we met the cleric under extremely strange circumstances that we still aren't entirely sure what happened. So I suppose my question is, do you know? I mean, can you help us fill in some of the blanks?
And he kind of sits up and I guess he's still standing over Gorath. He sits down next to Gorath, grabs the full bottle off the table, pours another drink, and starts sipping on it. And he says, I don't... And he kind of stops himself, and he says, I mean, I do know a little bit what you probably went through, but I don't know your whole story. Can I ask you a question? I apologize to answer a question with a question, but may I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Who have you told about the fallen cleric and your mark?
Well, who haven't we told?
Yeah, good point. As McMuffin says, we've told the High Priestess, we told a couple of the guards.
Have we told...
We told Santo.
I remember talking to the High Priestess about, and the librarian about the time, the book, and our meeting with Maven Mag, and maybe our adventures in Hisfillet, probably. But I don't know that we've told anyone other than Santo specifically about our run-in with the cleric. Unless you guys remember differently, and I'm just forgetting.
I know for a fact you did.
Okay.
you
Never mind, then.
You told the High Priestess everything, basically.
Okay. High Priestess and Santo, definitely.
Did we tell anybody else?
I don't...
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Okay.
And like he's like, for a second he's silent, and just you can see he's like just mulling it over a little. And it says, and he comes back and like rubs his hands together, and it's, he's back. He was gone for a second, but he's back. He says, well, and he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a silver coin, and you guys can easily see, well, not Gorath, that it's a cleric silver piece. And he says, this is very telling.
Huh.
Silver is telling.
That looks just like ours.
It really does.
But does it have the same Does it look like this one that we have exactly, or?
Yeah, it looks like the same
stamp or the same design on the money.
I know that I bought something with some of that currency, didn't I?
Yes, you
We
did,
but it was good enough. It was good enough for the shopkeeper.
Oh yeah, and that he says, "Oh, it spends, but it also leaves a trail."
So does this cleric gonna try to come back for us then? Is that what you're saying?
I seriously doubt it. No, I'm just saying he is basically, and he would explain it in another way. This silver piece was the first clue, and the first time I knew about you.
Aha. Okay.
But then he also cautions in a hushed tone. He says, "This is the kind of thing you don't want everyone to know."
I think.
Well,
why is that?
Yeah, to be honest, you've been perfectly fine so far.
I think Yulia kind of is starting to grasp it now. Have you ever? I don't know. Just completely meta. Have you ever been on a website forum or something like that and been talking to someone and had them just completely find you on a different website or something, or find your Facebook just from the information that you gave them, and it's just this really creepy moment that before you didn't really think about putting that information there because you didn't really think anybody would pay enough attention to trace it, and then you have this example of somebody just coming up and being able to find you, and now you're kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, I have had that experience.
Yeah, so I think that's just that creepy crawly, somebody's been paying attention to me and I wasn't aware of it before feeling.
Too much attention. Yeah, Muffin is entirely clueless. He's just like, why?
You cut out there, McMuffin. Why what?
Oh, McMuffin just said, why does it matter?
And he turns to you, McMuffin, and he's looking, and he says, "It's hard for me to blame you because it led you to me, but it could also." Let me put it this way. Who do you think would be interested in an eternal life?
Everybody.
Everyone. Every person in the world would be.
And what do you think everyone might do to obtain it?
Oh. Well, if we're looking at the fallen cleric's case, probably try to defend it to the last dying breath.
I'd probably got someone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right to the point.
Well, does it always have to be that way?
And he turns to you and he says, and he just shakes his head and kind of gives a shrug, and sadly, oftentimes it is. And he adds, and let me just be clear, you don't know me at all either.
Well,
but
I mean,
you're
you
here,
haven't heard us yet,
and I don't plan to. And he pours himself another drink.
Because I'll have you know my eyesight is perfect.
That's fun. And you probably still have the book, like, sitting by you about medieval torture, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He picks it up and pretends to read it, and it's upside down.
Yeah.
Of course.
And with that, he kind of turns to you, Gorath, and just like, it's like a little side note. He's like, everyone loves the brandy, but I've never seen anyone take such a gusto towards it. And you can see he's like impressed. And then he says to you, I hate to tell you this, but yeah, these are the last 2 bottles probably on the planet.
What, 2 bottles?
Well, he has a bottle. Yeah, the one
right,
that Gorath is emptying and the one on the table.
I'm just saying, I was under the impression Gorath wasn't aware there was a second bottle. You just made a grave mistake, buddy.
I think Gorath, first will take the news very, very hard. Just
only 2 bottles?
Left on the planet, as far as I know. It is delicious.
Well, I mean, it must suck, but it's not like people can just go back. If you get my drift.
What?
and he has a puzzled look on his face too. A what look? What?
I mean time travel. Get it? That was
yes. And he turns to me, and he actually pours a. He's saying something while he's pouring a glass, and he offers it to you, McMuffin, of the brandy, and he says, "Go ahead. If you want to take it, you don't have to."
Muffin takes it, and he sort of looks at you.
And while he's pouring another one,
Yulia just
and he hands
Yulia
it to,
kind of shrugs and God damn it.
Go ahead. No,
Go ahead.
And he's handing you one as well. What you can shrug if you'd like.
Yeah, I think Yulia just kind of looks over at Gorath and he just says, "Well, if it hasn't killed him yet, then
and he's drinking
I'd
it
say
too.
you can probably drink it." Yep. So I'll say Yulia accepts the glass with a thank you.
And while you guys are, he's doing this while he's saying this, and he said, as far as time travel goes, I wouldn't know the first thing about it. This is your expertise, it seems like to me. As far as I've been told.
What grabbed your attention about the book, unless you grabbed it purely to lure us here?
Oh, my attention was purely because of your attention. Your story was certainly compelling. And he's trying to think of a word to describe it. He says, let's just say a little bird told me your story. And also, from time to time, I'm sure you, well, and he catches himself. And he doesn't say, I'm sure you. He says, sometimes my information has to, circumvent, authority figures at the library, just for a little while. So I had the book brought to me.
So you stole it?
No, I traded for it. But you guys were looking for a specific book. I had a birdie that told me what it was. And didn't tell you.
Talking about a real bird.
Yeah, can we see, is he close enough now that we can take a look at the ring that he's wearing? And, I suspect may have a familiar sigil upon it.
It's a hammer.
It's a hammer. Oh, okay. Does it look at all familiar to Yulia? Because that's not necessarily what I was expecting, but you never know. Maybe Yulia knows.
It does not.
Okay. Alrighty. Well.
And he said, like without you asking, he says, so I had the book brought to me because people claiming to have time traveled, and you did tell, I think, the Brother Easel about the marks. I believe you showed it to him.
Yes, I suppose.
And he said, well, I had to read that book. Sadly, that book takes no time to read.
Yes, you've noticed that too, huh?
And he says, which is why I had one of my birdies come, and he kind of nods, invite you to my place.
So you've been watching us for a long time then?
Oh, and no, just, I have eyes and ears in various places. A place I don't have enough eyes and ears is where you were this morning. Tell me about your conversation with the High Priestess, if you would like.
She had good tea. There's been a great beverages.
She was really pretty too.
Yulia's gonna kind of raise an eyebrow and tell him that she honestly didn't have very much to share with us that was helpful. We spoke mainly about the murders that were happening around town, and what the circumstances were with that. But she had very little to help otherwise. And somebody else, if you remember, let me know, because it's been long enough. I just remember that she wasn't very helpful.
She didn't seem to think it was vampires.
And he laughs out loud.
Yeah.
Vampires.
Yeah. How long have you been in town? Have you been around for these murders? Do you know anything about what's going on?
He says, yes. Sadly, I don't know the origin of the perpetrator, of the murderer. But I have spoken to the girls were all, I would say, this town's equivalent of street urchins, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of information on those, except I have some ears in those communities. It is mostly a sadness. I can offer you some information about it, if you would like.
Absolutely. Whatever you can share would be helpful.
The most interesting point to me was the victims were not killed where they were found. There was no blood. No, that they were taken and placed.
It's the ice truck killer.
You say they were placed. Were they arranged or put in a particular position, or did they appear to be dumped?
They were dumped, it seems. But definitely not killed in where they were found. That's interesting to me. The other very interesting thing was the precision of the cuts. Definitely a blade of magnificent sharpness, or some sort of, I suppose it could be magical. It certainly wasn't a vampire.
very sharp. And
whoever it was has some what it would seem to me some professional skill or experience with this sort of thing.
Do you think it's any particular organization, like a cultist group or something like that?
sounds more like it would be someone who has either medical knowledge or what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody who knows about anatomy. Someone who's familiar and has surgical tools. Or...
Most definitely that, he says.
I never did trust doctors.
And he says, I'm not convinced it's a doctor per se. Honestly, doctors of this age probably aren't that good.
No,
probably not. Interesting.
Go ahead.
I know we talked about this last session. I asked the High Priestess how long it had been since the murders started, but I don't remember what the answer was, so I'll go ahead and ask him how long it's been going on for.
It would seem in this town it's 3 girls. In and around the full moons. So, and he giggles. He's like, I might as well be a werewolf then.
You're right. I mean, yeah.
Takes Gorath a moment to pick up on the facetiousness of the statement.
And he almost thinks about like calming you guys down and telling him that it was a joke, but then he decides not to.
Good grief.
The other disturbing part, and this is some of these things I'm sharing with you are known to the investigators, but this one I don't think is. The precision of these cuts, the victim could not have been moving.
Say that again?
The victims were not drugged, but the precision of the cuts, they had to have been restrained in some way. And that's what I can't quite figure out. Magic, paralyzation, I'm not certain.
Maybe maybe it might be time magic.
It's entirely possible.
You want to go ahead and explain that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, if we think about it, when we met that time wizard at the beginning, she could reverse time. She could also stop us, and she could also, yeah, that's what she could do. Likewise, when we died, we got sent backwards a couple of seconds. Also, time magic affected his foot as well. So it wouldn't be out of natural that someone could be easily frozen in place and then afterwards all their blood is drained or something to that extent.
But if you froze a person in place with time and then you cut them, wouldn't they not bleed because their blood is also frozen in time?
Good enough point.
And Gorath will kind of act surprised at the thought that he just had.
Wow, this is a lot more deeper than I thought.
But Malik interjects. He says, "It could very well be time magic if what you say is true." And but I don't know. A magician has any kind of spells that could perform such a task. But I'm not certain that most wizards are so skilled with a knife.
Enterprise, go ahead and scan the area for tachyon emissions.
I'm afraid I don't have the answers to who is performing these murders.
So when you got us to come here, was it just to talk to us, or did you have something else in mind as well? You want to hear our story, but do you have another reason for arranging this meeting?
And he giggles. My orc friend is asking if I have ulterior motives.
Yes.
Ulterior
And
man.
he kind of puts his hand on your shoulder and then puts a hand and like taps the almost empty bottle. And he's like, "Oh, you mean by like plying you with thousand silver brandy?"
1,000 silver brandy.
I mean, that's what I paid for.
He hugs the bottle again.
1,000 silver.
I mean, it's very old and very rare.
And wait a minute. We don't have the money to replace that.
Nor do you need to. You're welcome to drink as much as you'd like.
Oh. Okay, good.
I've come to learn that when you're in these situations, it's best to drink first and then ask questions later.
I feel exactly the same way, he says to go. If there's one thing
I'm learning.
that the Brotherhood of the Pool, could possibly understand is, possessions are fleeting. Time passes, things go, enjoy them while they're there. There's always something new and interesting coming, much like a band of 3 interesting people grouped together that somehow tell everybody everything about them and
We're
are
all
still
too stupid to know otherwise.
and are still alive. And yeah, I couldn't wait to meet you sooner, honestly.
I mean, we do.
I think he thinks that we're all going to be dead soon.
We do have an orc. I mean, I feel like that tilts things in our favor, to be fair.
It really does.
Yeah.
And have you seen my sword?
No,
It's a
but
pretty
I've
cool
heard
sword.
of it.
And Gorath will, out of pride, pull out the sword and demonstrate the magical ability.
Awesome.
I think Yulia will ask, just for the heck of it, if she can see the book that has the sundial on the front and presumably nothing on the inside.
Oh, of course. And like, it's on a stand in the corner. Like,
Ooh,
he walks
fancy.
over, and it just like blank pages are open. You guys didn't notice. Grabs it off the stand. Snaps it shut. And he hands it over to you, and he's sitting next to you. He sits down next to you and like hands it, and he's like, the cover is very interesting. There's something about it. And the cover it's the sundial, but it's very small, right? And it's a little cloudy. Mm-hmm. It's very weird looking. It has like, and he's like, I've been staring at this for hours, and I have nothing. I don't know.
Well, I guess that puts us in the same boat, because I certainly haven't been able to figure it out quite yet.
What I didn't quite catch, I did catch there was another book that led you to this place, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you. I want to give you information, and he's like, basically, I wanted to share information with you, right? But he's very curious about how did you solve the first book's riddle? I did not understand.
Yulia is like sort of, again, that creepy feeling of somebody's been able to follow you around and trace your steps without you even thinking about it. So she's kind of hesitant, and she'll be sort of vague and just sort of say, "Oh, well, I recalled reading something about something similar, though not identical to this, and so I just fiddled around with it and managed to sort of connect the dots and stumble upon the answer."
Didn't you have to open it at a specific time of day?
Gorath! Yes, thank you, Gorath. I'd almost forgotten. You're correct. Yes, it had to be opened. I don't even remember what time it was exactly. It was the sun directly overhead, over to one side. Brian, you'll have to remind me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought you were being coy. No,
I was being coy, but now I'm trying to remember exactly what time it was.
The book had 2 page 12s. And
That's
displayed
right.
that at midnight or noon.
I'll actually write that down so I can...
Yeah, and he laughs. And he's like... And makes note to Gorath. He's laughing at Gorath because he's too honest still. But he laughs at you, Yulia. Not laughs at you, but chuckles.
Chuckles.
You're learning to be... decide why somebody might... be asking you a question before you divulge the answer. That's excellent advice. Yes, Greg.
Discreet.
What's
Sorry, Yulia. She was being discreet.
Discreet. And he said, yes. It's why I'm very happy to share information with you instead of... I take it from what you had just mentioned about Sister Melora that she was more listening, less talky.
Quite a bit less talky.
I found her to be the same, personally.
Have you've spoken to her about this?
Definitely not about this. I'm not exactly sure what to make of our High Priestess.
Do you think she's untrustworthy?
Yeah, she's super pretty, so what would be the problem?
Yeah, great tea.
And he has a huge smile, and he says, "These are excellent points." Did you find anything uncomfortable about her in your visit?
She seemed, well, to be honest, almost maybe too fair. It felt like something about her was off.
Didn't she have like
I got the feeling
blemish or something?
Yeah, actually, I made a note of that in my notes. Let me see,
I don't
actually,
remember
what I
that.
wrote.
What blemish did she have?
She had a wart.
Let me see my...
Right, yeah, big old wart.
Oh!
Yeah, it has a huge wart on her head, and it has a cinnamon smell. Fair-looking lady of red head.
Mm-hmm.
There was the giant wart. That McMuffin says smells like cinnamon.
What an odd thing to say.
Awesome. You're probably forgetting this, but you're welcome to... This is out of game. Be coy and not tell him, but she cut you with a knife.
Oh, God, yeah, I had totally forgotten about that. Oh, yeah. Well, I think... Yeah, I think Yulia will mention that to, what's his name? Maxwell?
It's Malik. Malik Maxwell.
Malik Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think she will say about that really bizarre little encounter with the high priestess.
With the blood? Like she cut you, and didn't she do something with it?
Well, you showed her your mark on your hand, and she cut right there and took some of your blood, and then healed you.
Yeah, that was strange.
Mm-hmm. And you tell him this?
What is his reaction?
But you tell him that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and tell him that.
I'm just glad she didn't notice the one on my nipple.
Yeah, and Malik has that long stare off, interesting. And he spins to you, and he says, "Did it have any effect? Did you feel anything? Was it?"
I mean, aside from it hurting, no, I haven't noticed anything strange quite yet.
Is there a mark? Did it leave a mark? Her cut?
Yulia, God, I need all my damn notes to remember where her mark is, but Yulia.
Your mark is on your hand. I think it's your left
yes.
hand.
So I don't think Yulia has paid too much attention to it. So she'll kind of look and try to find out for herself if there is a remaining mark there.
And he's peering at it with you, like everyone's looking at your hand now.
They're so dainty.
Is there any sort of mark remaining other than the obvious?
None of us can see a mark
at all.
And
no, there's no scar.
Actually, looking beside her hand rather than at her hand.
Nope, can't see nothing.
God damn it.
And
Can McMuffin make an insight check?
Yeah, go for it. What are you inciting?
Insight would trying to see if he sees any mark on Yulia.
Oh, like the knife.
Insight would be like,
mark? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. I'm not sure what I'd add to that. Would it be like Dex or?
I would go wisdom.
Would it be
that.
like wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Wisdom or intelligence.
Yeah, I would think wisdom only because you're trying to ascertain something, not trying to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Nope.
Well,
does Yulia have a mark?
Oh my God, Yulia doesn't have a hand.
Yulia, where's your hand?
Yulia will look surprised. Like it was right here. She cut me right here, and now I can't see anything.
Well, she did heal it, didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, but you would think that something would remain. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've healed things that still had marks left, and it just sort of healed over.
It's hard for me to tell. I'm kind of one big scar.
And you have only one partially functioning eye at the moment.
Mm-hmm. It probably got a little better. You can probably see a little more definition of shapes. Because I feel like we've been talking at least for an hour, right? Like
probably.
And he says, well, I hope she's not problematic, because apparently she has all your information and some of your blood.
Yulia just looks very like, how dare you insinuate that anybody of the Order of the Lady of the Light could possibly have any ulterior motives? How dare you, sir? You can tell that it had just never even possibly occurred to her that there would be a problem in that. Yeah.
And he doesn't even respond to that, but he says, That's a lovely brooch you have on your bandolier. Can I ask you where you got such a thing? It's interesting.
That's an excellent question. I don't remember a brooch either. What the hell?
All right, I'll give you that too. Sister Meloria gave you that brooch and pinned it to your bandolier as you were leaving.
God, was I just like not paying any attention last session? Because
I mean, it was 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago.
True.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and say that was also something from Sister Melora.
And he's like, may I, meaning, can he take a peek at it?
She kind of hesitates, but kind of goes up and undoes the little pin and hands it to him.
And he's like really looking, he's like tapping it, shakes a little, kind of puts it up to his ear, and gives it back to you.
What did it say?
It said, "Let's have a drink."
Oh, I like that brooch.
And he pours another. He kind of taps your bottle, and he's like, "You're running low there, my orc friend."
Yeah, I am.
And the tears are coming out. So he pours you a cup and hands it to you, and takes one himself. It really is good. I'll miss this. Yeah, and he's kind of perplexed by that, and you catch him, over the continuing conversations, kind of staring at that brooch.
Do you think it's one of her ears?
And he laughs, and it's certainly worth some money. It's quite nice, actually.
Have you ever seen anything like it before? Do you recognize the design?
I've never seen anything like that. He kind of looks around and he's like, I wouldn't mind adding it to my collection normally, but...
Yeah, I think Yulia is surprised that he hasn't seen anything like it before, considering how wide and eclectic his collection of things is.
He does appear like I don't make you guys do skill checks for obvious things. He does seem a little concerned about that. I don't know if concerned is the word, but just curious about that.
Interesting. I don't know that any of us here have awareness.
I do.
Oh, do you? Well, there you go. I don't know. Well, Gorath is almost blind at this point. Slowly getting better, but almost blind.
Yeah, your awareness is not going to work.
Advantage, yeah.
You are not going to do well in skill checks, I think.
No.
I got a question for you.
I do have one question.
Damn, we did that at the same time.
You first, Gorath.
If you insist. No, I lost my train of thought. Right. So, just a, hypothetical. Say that person who might be orc-ish of relation and birth might happen to see glowing eyes from time to time. In your experience, is that something?
And he says, seeing glowing eyes, I would suggest I personally would not want to see glowing eyes Assuming this is from the dark?
From...
I mean, I've only seen them coming from, like, shadows and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, they only spot them in dark places, but it can happen during daylight.
I would certainly be a little concerned about that, I think.
Right, right.
How often does this happen, and when's the last time it happened?
Happened this morning, didn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't I see one going... Was it going towards or going from the Lady of Light?
I think it was just in and around the square. Okay. It wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
You were
in
the square. You saw them.
Okay.
It's more hypothetically, an orc person may or may not have seen glowing red eyes today in a square in a town hypothetically similar to this one. Hypothetically.
Did you catch any details? You can see he's actually a little concerned about this. Like, did you guys see anything? Did you notice anything weird?
Well, the weird thing was that when I tried to look, like, right at it, it would be gone, and that no one else has seen them. But Yulia said she had a weird dream that, hypothetically, who is a woman who might be a priestess of the light, may or may not have had a dream related, hypothetically.
And Gorath is starting to sweat at this point.
And he says, well, that is concerning. And he turns to you and asks, do you often have these dreams?
No. She's kind of defensive about it. No, I normally have perfectly nice dreams, but, we've been through a lot of things in the past few weeks, and it's been, it's bound to give you some uncomfortable dreams when you sleep.
She was a specter for a little while.
And he kind of nods. True. And his eyes widen. Is that right?
Were you not turned into another creature when you went to the...
Maybe he just didn't have a ceiling dropped on him.
Yeah, he's confused, and he says, I think we had very different experiences in how we got to the cleric. How'd
you get to the cleric?
Yeah, no, I think Yulia is very interested. I know he said earlier, it's a long story, but I think Yulia kind of wants to press him on the issue and ask him how he came across the cleric.
You show me yours, I'll show you mine.
Damn it.
Classic. And he says, well, once I was getting to the cleric was just a matter of money. Getting to the pool, I just paid him.
Oh.
That wasn't difficult.
I see. Yes, we had definitely heard that he was willing to allow access to anyone who could afford to pay. And she sounds very disapproving about this.
Yeah.
Very disapproving about this.
Well, yeah, and as you guys... I don't think I really explained it. Because he looks about your age, right? You guys are all look... It's kind of hard to tell.
We all look about the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all look about the same age at this point.
Exactly. And, yeah. So, and he says, back in the day, it was hard to find the information. but it cost me a lot to get the information, and then more to slide into the tub. And I forget, did you tell him about your experience in getting there?
We alluded.
Yeah, I don't think we explained it, except that we kind of had to travel, and we weren't sure exactly how we ended up there. So yeah, kind of vague.
Right, but okay. So he would ask for sure, like, tell me about your experience there, and do you tell him about the time travel and that sort of thing?
Well, I don't know. Maybe a significant glance passes around between the three party companions. How much exactly do we tell this guy?
Gorath is probably not the best.
Okay, fine, McMuffin. What do you think?
McMuffin will tell him everything.
Awesome.
Okay, so it started when we met in a...
And at this point, he's going to let you just roll on. And do you tell him everything? Like
From the multiple deaths in the tower, to Nave and Mag tossing them around, to his family members being frozen in time, to having birds watch them while they're on the skyship, nice. To the funny adventures in Lubo,
meeting death,
to the sword, to meeting death.
Yeah,
many times. Yeah, everything. And he also then talks about Birdie, who's been just sitting there, not doing anything.
And he says to you, I was going to ask you about that bird, but I figured maybe I shouldn't.
No, Birdie's not doing much. McMuffin says as Birdie sort of just gives a light chirp.
You might want to have that third claw looked at. It's a little disturbing.
Third claw? What are you talking about?
You probably don't remember, but Birdie grew an extra claw last game.
Oh, I thought he grew not a claw, but like an extra finger or like an extra.
Oh yeah.
Like
it was
an extra feather,
an extra talon. Yeah, but like he's looking a little deranged, right? Like it's like that's an interesting bird you've got there.
McMuffin kind of looks at Birdie again and he says, "Oh, Birdie, you have extra talon. That's weird. I might gotta see a vet."
Yeah, there was a time I was going to eat that bird, but anymore I don't think it's quite a good idea.
It doesn't look so tasty anymore.
He's perfectly fine.
And he says, I mean, you can understand. I mean, normally, the bird would be the first thing I ask about. But you guys have had quite the experience. I applaud that.
Being a zombie was fun.
What do brains taste like?
Well, I didn't have access to any, unfortunately. The golems didn't have no brains. And the cleric, I was gonna, but he got
Oscar.
away.
He says, honestly, you guys have one of the most interesting stories outside, rivaling my own. I'm fascinated by this. And then he picks up the book and kind of is like leafing through it. He says, so what do you think about this book? Do you think there's not two... Did you tell him there was two page 12s, or did you just allude that it was at a time?
Yeah, no, I figure since Gorath kind of blurted it out, I'll go ahead and fill in at least some of it. It seems to be, I mean, considering that there is a compass or sundial on the front, it does make sense that it's reliant upon the time of day or night. But yes, it does seem to be time dependent, and if you open it at noon or at midnight, you'll get two different page 12s.
And he's kind of like flipping through. He's like, I stayed up most of the night with this book last night, but I'll tell you what. Why don't, if you're game, why don't you stay here with me tonight? I can set you up with some lovely rooms. I'll have Armand set up all the accoutrements, and maybe we could. And he looks, at like, I don't know what you would look at for the time.
Directly into the sun.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's probably, I'd say 9 o'clock right now.
Okay.
And he says, why don't I have Armand show you to your rooms?
Slumber party.
You're welcome to stay the night. You're welcome to leave, too. I don't want you to. But it seems like we are connected by at least some interesting experiences. Freshen up, do whatever you'd like, and let's meet back down here at 11:30, or in Splat hours, however we're marking time, and let's have a look at this book and see if that tells the tale.
For Yulia's part, she's still feeling that, oh my god, I need to start covering my tracks a little better because I don't like this. But I think her curiosity, her wanting to figure out what the hell is going on, I think that just kind of overpowers everything else. So she's willing to take that chance, and she wants to try and see if she can figure out what's going on. So she's okay with this.
And the rest of the party?
Anybody else?
Muffin will gladly accept that and then ask, where's the kitchen?
And he says, Armand would be happy to prepare anything you would like.
No, that's not what I meant. I don't like having people cook for me, unless it's my mom or dad.
I see.
Could I?
Of course. Anything you want. My house is your house.
I mean, let's be real. The best guests are the ones who offer to help you cook or clean or do something. Don't just sit on their butts.
Of course.
In my experience.
And he really appreciates that. He thinks that's one of the very excellent wisdom. And he says, Armand will see to all the things. He's a bit slow, but he's been with me forever. So
right.
At that point, he rings a bell or whatever, and Armand comes in, the butler, and escorts you guys off. I guess we're at time, and this is probably a good time to break, right?
Probably a good time for this week.
Well, that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. I enjoyed that. I'm sorry that I remembered so little from what happened. I swear I had my notes, but I have no idea where they ran off to. So normally I could read through those and refresh myself.
No, I figured this conversation would be a lot about let's all get on the same page kind of thing. So it was I kind of built that in, and I was good. I was actually looking forward to this because this was going to be because I kind of having you guys understand that you're a little, and then of course he told him everything.
Of course.
And he loves it. He doesn't mind at all. He literally, he traffics in knowledge, and you just gave him a shit ton. So he has zero problem with Gorath drinking a couple thousand cylinders.
All of this brandy.
Doesn't mind at all.
Yeah, I feel like Yulia just really does not have enough of an appreciation about trying to keep things close to the chest, and she just wants to know what's going on so badly. She just doesn't even think about giving out information to other people in pursuit of that.
Sure.
So I think this conversation was at least a little bit of a wake-up call, but not enough, obviously, considering that he knows what they've been up to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that was cool. And it's just super fun. Like, I'm hoping that you guys aren't getting bored without some, combat and interesting shit along that line. But
I like plot episodes. I'm okay with that.
Cool.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting, like, the development. I'm still interested in wondering what were those birds for?
Yeah.
Like, when we were in the
I'd like to figure out.
That's what I was thinking when he was talking about birds.
Me too. I'm right there with you.
The birds doing what? Which birds?
He was talking about his little birdies or his little birds telling him things, and that's why I checked his signet ring, because I'm like, oh fuck, is it that the raven or the crow sigil that we saw on the band of one of the ravens? Right. So
it is.
Yeah, I was surprised that it wasn't that. No, it is not.
He literally traffics in information. I mean, he's a merchant, but like you can tell, like so he just has eyes and ears. Yeah, he's a weird dude. Like has a lot of experience in cash, and I'm sure has he was implying that he has one of the scribes works for him as well, right? That overheard everything you were saying. Because you guys were talking in a small, in a library where and they were trying to help you find a book. And so so he, and he knows, like the street urchins, he would definitely have that. Those people are they're eager to give information for very little money, right? So that's what he's implying that's what he meant by birdies.